What if I told you that one single day, one single decision, and one single charge changed the future of an entire continent? What if the map of Europe you see today almost looked completely different? Because in 1683, outside a city called Vienna, the fate of Europe came down to fear, pride, ego, and human psychology. And the truth is, this battle was not just about swords and cannons. It was about the way humans react when everything is about to collapse. Let's go back. The year is 1683. Europe is divided, tired, distrustful. And the most powerful empire in the world at the time, the Ottoman Empire, is expanding. For over 2 centuries, they had conquered cities, kingdoms, and entire civilizations. They had taken Constantinople. They had pushed deep into the Balkans, and now they were knocking on the door of Central Europe, Vienna, the heart of the Holy Roman Empire. If Vienna fell, the road into Western Europe would be open, and many leaders believed it would fall, because fear spreads faster than armies. And that brings us to the first psychological truth. Number 1, fear makes people freeze. When the Ottoman army arrived, it was massive. Some estimates say over 100,000 soldiers, artillery, engineers, elite janissaries. Their commander, Kara Mustafa Pasha, was confident, maybe too confident. Inside Vienna, panic, food shortages, disease, bombardment day and night. The walls were being mined, blown apart from underneath. And here's what history doesn't always tell you. Most people didn't think rescue was coming because Europe was divided by religion, politics, and ego. This is called learned helplessness. When people believe nothing will change, they stop trying. And for weeks, Vienna lived in that mental prison. But something else was happening, something quiet, something dangerous: hope.
Number 2, shared threat creates unity. Across Europe, rulers who normally hated each other started to feel the same fear. Because this wasn't just Vienna, it was survival. And fear of a shared enemy activates one of the strongest human instincts: tribal unity. Even rivals cooperate when extinction is possible. One man in particular felt this deeply: John III Sobieski, King of Poland. He was not the richest king, not the most powerful, but he had something more dangerous: purpose. Sobieski understood something many leaders miss. If Vienna falls, Poland is next. So he made a bold decision. He would march. Not for glory, not for conquest, but for survival. And this decision reveals the second psychological layer. Great leaders act before certainty. Most people wait for perfect information. They want guarantees. But history rewards those who move in uncertainty. Sobieski gathered his army and marched south. Meanwhile, Vienna was close to collapse. The Ottoman tunnels were nearly through. Explosions shook the walls. The defenders were exhausted. Every day they expected the final assault. But Kara Mustafa delayed. He wanted Vienna intact. He wanted prestige. He wanted to walk into the city, not destroy it. And that leads us to the third psychological truth. Number 3, ego destroys strategic advantage. Instead of launching a full attack, he waited. He believed victory was inevitable. This is overconfidence bias, when success in the past blinds you to present danger. He underestimated the possibility of relief. He underestimated European unity. He underestimated Sobieski. And history punishes arrogance. By early September, the relief army arrived. Around 70,000 troops from different nations: Poles, Austrians, Germans, different languages, different cultures. One goal: They gathered on the hills above Vienna. And here's something fascinating. The Ottomans did not immediately realize the scale of the threat, because humans often see what they expect to see. Confirmation bias. Kara Mustafa expected victory, so he interpreted reality in a way that supported his belief. But the truth was gathering, like a storm. The date, September 12, 1683, the morning of the battle. Fog covered the hills. The largest cavalry charge in history was about to happen. But before that, hours of brutal fighting. The Allied army slowly pushed down the slopes. The Ottomans resisted fiercely. Gunfire, smoke, chaos. It lasted all day. And this brings us to the fourth psychological insight. Number 4, endurance beats talent. The Ottoman army was experienced, disciplined, powerful, but they were exhausted. Months of siege, long supply lines, mental fatigue. The Allies, on the other hand, had urgency, fresh energy, and a clear mission. Motivation often outweighs skill, because humans are not machines, they are emotional creatures. By late afternoon, the Ottoman lines began to weaken, and then came the moment that changed history. Sobieski gathered his cavalry, including the legendary Winged Hussars, armored, lances, wings attached to their backs, designed to intimidate. They stood on the hill, looking down at the Ottoman camp. Thousands of horses, the largest cavalry charge ever recorded. And Sobieski gave the order. They charged. The ground shook. Dust filled the air. The Ottomans were stunned, because no one expected such a massive attack so late in the day. Surprise, speed, psychological shock. The charge smashed into the Ottoman lines. Panic spread. And here is the fifth truth.
Number 5. Momentum is psychological. Once humans believe they are losing, collapse accelerates. Fear spreads faster than logic. Units broke. Command structures failed. Within hours, the Ottoman army retreated. The siege was over. Vienna was saved, and Europe changed. Kara Mustafa fled. Later, he was executed for the failure. Sobieski entered Vienna as a hero. But here's the deeper lesson. This battle was not just about religion or territory. It was about human nature. Fear, ego, unity, endurance, momentum. Because every major turning point in history follows the same psychological patterns. When people face extinction, they unite. When leaders become arrogant, they fall. When individuals act before certainty, they change the future. And Vienna in 1683 became a symbol, a reminder that civilizations do not collapse in a single day. They collapse when people stop believing they can fight back, and they survive when even a few refuse to surrender. Today, we don't fight battles like this, but the psychology is the same. In business, in relationships, in personal growth, you will face moments where everything feels lost, where the walls are breaking, where no help is coming. And in those moments, you have two choices: freeze or act. History rewards action. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember Vienna. Remember Sobieski. Remember that the future is shaped by those who move when others hesitate. Because sometimes one decision, one charge, one moment of courage can save everything. If you enjoyed this story and want more deep psychological breakdowns of history's most powerful moments, subscribe and join the journey. Because the past is not just about what happened, it's about understanding ourselves.